All right, everyone. Welcome to my draft. This is Vin. I am by myself. I am doing a 12-team ESPN league draft, and I figured I would record it while I'm drafting, give you some of my insights as I'm drafting. It will not be live while I'm drafting, so it doesn't give any advantages to anyone to see what I'm doing, my thought processes, anyone in the league. So after we draft and everything is done, we'll end up posting this on YouTube and on our podcast channel so everyone can take a look at it and listen. So as you can see, I pick fourth. I am the New York Freaks. Let me just go over. This is a 12-team league. Here's the rules real quick as we're heading less than a minute to drafting. So you draft one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, one tight end, one defense, one place kicker, and then you have 8 bench players. And then there's a one flex, which that's either a running back, wide receiver, or tight end who you end up starting in your league. You can see this is a pretty good quarterback league because you get 6 points for a touchdown. And you get some bonuses for a 50-yard touchdown pass and every passing yard over 25. It is a PPR as well, and you get 1 point for each reception, so that's pretty high. Touchdown rushing is 6. Touchdown receiving is 6 as well. So, and then scoring with kicking, big field goals, and special teams. I'm not a big kicker defensive guy when it comes to drafting. And I like to really focus more on my core players. So we can see the draft has started, and Jonathan Taylor was the first pick, as expected. So I'm picking fourth. I really am been big on Najee Harris this year. I think that he has the opportunity to really put up a tremendous amount of fantasy points as a 3-down back. I think here picking anywhere from 3 to 8 is where I was really excited about getting an opportunity to get him. If Christian McCaffrey falls down to 4, which I highly doubt, because we have some teams aren't logged on yet, as you can see, and this is one of them. So I think this should default to McCaffrey, unless he has set up his draft prior and has a different draft strategy altogether. But right now, my thought process here is to take Najee Harris with the 4th pick. The other things I'm looking at is this is a 12-team league. I do pick 4th. I end up picking 21st coming back around in the second round, and then picking 28th. So I do get an opportunity to select 3 of the top 30 players. So, we'll see how it falls out and everything, but most likely I'm going to get Harris here at 4 and then try to come back either with the best receiver or potentially the better running back if it's available. We'll see how it falls out here as time goes on, but there it goes. So now I'm on the clock, and as you can see, Eckler went. So I'm just going to take Najee Harris here with that. And now I've got Najee Harris as my first pick. And like I said, I really feel that he's going to have a very big year, especially in PPR. A lot of receptions, a lot of touches, someone that's going to have a tremendous fantasy year. People are a little concerned about the quarterback situation there, but I'm really not, because I think Ben was a shell of himself in the prior years. And I think with that, Harris is actually going to have even a better year and more opportunities, because I think they'll be able to spread the ball a little bit more. Kind of interesting here that Justin Jefferson was the first receiver off the board and not Cooper Kupp. That's something interesting right there. Kupp is listed 3rd in ESPN rankings. Then Dalvin Cook went. I'm guessing people, again, look at that PPR, which is important, especially, Derrick Henry is not a big receiving back. But I'm a little surprised that the Kupp was not the first receiver. Justin Jefferson was. But, Jefferson has shown that he can definitely be an elite number one receiver. So we'll see how this continues to play out here as we see the first pick. So as we're going along, I'm projecting somewhere maybe in the Tyreek Hill, maybe Keenan Allen kind of area. Let's look at the receivers here real quick on the rankings. And we can see that there is a bunch still here. So guys are taking their time. Like I said, some of these guys might not have been logged in yet, or they're coming in, or they're thinking about what they're doing. So you can see here that Tyreek is ranked 17th and Keenan Allen is 24th. So it could go that direction here in the second round. Also, from a running back perspective, let's take a quick look. Javonte Williams could be a good back, especially in that new Denver offense. James Conner possibly. Aaron Jones there as well. So we'll see how that all plays out. But the next couple picks, of course, and then Cooper Kupp, who was expected. And now Derrick Henry is gone. So it's basically played out the way it is. Jamar Chase now is probably the top guy on the board with the 6th ranking. It'll be interesting to see how people think about taking a receiver this early in a PPR league, in that there's very limited running backs in that PPR style. So running backs, I think, in the first round are something that you're really interested in taking as time goes on here. But as you can see, there goes Alvin Kamara, who's got more of that PPR kind of style. And then there's Jamar Chase, who is probably at 10, a very good value pick there. You're not going to get him coming back around in the second round. So some really good value there, I think, with Jamar Chase. And there's the first Josh Allen, first quarterback off the board. My feelings with quarterbacks, like I said, this is a pretty healthy quarterback league. Josh Allen does give rushing yards, does throw a lot of touchdowns. But again, you need to start 2 running backs, 2 receivers. I think you need to really focus on that in your first couple of rounds. I can see Josh Allen maybe possibly being a later second-round pick, but we'll see. So now it's starting to go a little faster. Devontae Adams, Swift off the board. Now Mahomes. So now you got 2 quarterbacks that went in the first, it looks like 13 picks, 14 picks. So it's starting to go a little quarterback heavy, which plays to my advantage here, because now I can see I'm focusing on Tyreek Hill, possibly Joe Mixon now. If he doesn't go, maybe guys start getting a little wide receiver happy that took running backs. So maybe I can go back with 2 receivers and then think about taking 2 running backs, and then thinking about coming back for a wide receiver on a quick turnaround at pick 28. But we can see Bulldogs is auto-drafting right now, and so is P-Funk at picks 18, 23, and 26. So those will probably be the highest guys on the board, which there goes Joe Mixon now. So so now my focus, I think, is still on Tyreek Hill here. I don't think Debo will slide. I'm not too big on CD Lamb right now. I know he's the number 1 guy in Dallas, but I got some concerns about their offense and maybe the focus that'll be on Lamb without them really having a legitimate number 2 right now. So I think that plays into it. All right. So right now, as we can see here, Barbie is on the clock trying to figure out probably which way they want to go here at this point. Looks like, I would go Debo Samuel unless you took a receiver the first go around. So maybe try to figure out the best back, because it's hard to come back and see what back you have. But they went with Debo. Debo's going to put up rushing yards as well, remember. So they go CD Lamb, of course, with the auto pick. Guess the top guy. Now Aaron Jones. We'll see if Tyreek Hill's here for me. If not, I think I'll slide into potentially Travis Kelce here, because I think that he's focused as a receiver, top tight end, could give me a lot of points, and I could possibly come back with a second running back or a top receiver at pick 28. But let's just see how this plays out, because I'd rather get Tyreek Hill here and then focus coming back on either the best running back or receiver back around, or potentially even Travis Kelce at 28, but I don't think so. Well, there goes Tyreek Hill. So I think here, and I was also focused on Keenan Allen. I think I'm going to take Keenan Allen and then try to come back on the next go around with another running back. Let me just take a quick look at the running backs here. So yeah, maybe possibly Barkley, maybe Nick Chubb. I think Saquon, James Conner, something like that. We'll see. I think for now we're going to go with what we felt from the beginning was Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill. So I'll just take Keenan Allen here. Let me just write down where he is as far as his bye week. You know, that's important. Make sure you're paying attention to your bye weeks, that you're not loading up on a bunch of guys in the same bye week. So that's important. So keeping that. As you can see, the pick history here. You know, we can go by rounds, we can go by everything, but right now, pick, you know, as you can see, my bye weeks up on the left are 9 and 8. The draft is going. Let's go back here to all. And it looks like, you know, Kelce went next, which, you know, we were focusing on him potentially, but I think we can get a little more value here early, maybe with a Saquon Barkley, a Mike Evans, DJ Moore, and then maybe in our 4th and 5th round, focus on George Kittle, Darren Waller. We'll see where Kyle Pitts could focus in. I think we're in a good spot here, picking in at 28 and then waiting a little bit to about pick 45. So we're on the clock in 3 picks here. Let me turn up my volume here a little bit so I can hear what's going on. All right. So let's see. So Javonte Williams just got picked. 911 here, as you can see, he has back-to-back picks. He had the first pick, who was tailored, and he came back, took his second running back. I would expect him to take either Mike Evans or Moore here. I think those are the better picks for him. Oh, he took Michael Pittman. Very interesting. Little bit early maybe for Pittman over maybe an Evans or a DJ Moore, but maybe he's focusing on Matt Ryan being there. So for us now, I think James Conner is the best pick here. I think a lot of value here. I picked 28, Arizona. He's a big touchdown guy. He can catch the ball as well, which we saw last year. A lot of people didn't think he could, but he did show some numbers in the receiving area. So I think he was good value there right at pick 28 for me. And also week 13, as you can see. So my running back situation is pretty solid here. So we got some time now. I think I'm going to focus on my wide receiver, my tight end, and in that area. So let me just show you something about the quarterbacks while we're waiting and why I'm not thinking about anyone at this point. So you can see where they're ranked here. This is the ESPN ranking, but it's as you can see, they're more in a 12-team league, you know, 4th, 5th, 6th rounds here, right? Jalen Hurts, who you can get according to ESPN rankings, somewhere 6th or 7th round. I think that's something kind of interesting when you look at it, where Dak Prescott is. And then, you know, some guys I like down here a little bit. You got, you know, still got Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. You know, Kirk Cousins is way down the line here, pick 152. You know, people aren't too high on Cousins, but if you're high on Justin Jefferson, you're high on Adam Thielen, you're high on Dalvin Cook, you would have to think that someone is getting them the ball. And that definitely is Kirk Cousins at this point. It looks like Bulldogs has joined the league. Maybe he's having some drafting issues, you know, technology, why he's taking his time and why he was in auto draft and now he's there. But it looks like he's still in auto draft and he's taking DJ Moore at this point. So let's just go back here, take a quick look at the way the draft is going. So Barkley, who I was, you know, thinking about there at 28, ranked 28th, is now the highest on the board. You know, if you feel his injury history, you know, plays a big part in where you're drafting. You know, for me, he was by week 9, so I had to pay attention to that as well. So, you know, I think that's other things people are looking at. And you're also concerned about the Giants. But there you go. Some value, I would think, where his ranking is and how he got picked right there. Cam Akers here with pick 29. I think that's kind of high in the rankings that I've been seeing in other drafts that I've attended and seeing just in general of general drafts and draft orders. And I think it's more due to him still coming off that injury from last year, not overly performing tremendously in the playoffs in the Super Bowl, and then having what they said is a soft tissue injury right now. So you get some concerns here with Akers. I think, for me, as a number 3 back would be beautiful. You could throw him in as a flex. A lot of value at pick 45. I doubt he'll be there, of course, but, that's someone you look at. So let's just see here who is ranked in the 45 range. Oh, I went a little too far. I went very far, actually. It's hard with this mouse and all this going on, but we'll get it. So, we got Marquise Brown, Zeke Elliott. So there you go. See, Kyle Pitts went, Herbert went, Alan Lazard went very early there at round 3, pick 8. So some real early picks. Guys are probably want to get guys because it takes a while to come back. So they're trying to get guys that they feel have value for them and taking them early. Sometimes that helps other people like myself who are probably focused on maybe the best tight end at this point, which could be Waller. I can maybe get there, or I could think maybe I could slide into the 5th round here. I think that's probably where I go because I think there's just a tremendous amount of receivers here that are very highly ranked. Guys I like A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Mike Williams, Brandon Cooks is not bad there at 37. So we'll see as it plays out and comes closer here. P-Funk is still on auto. Looks like Bulldogs is offline, but not on auto. So again, when it comes to him, we might slow down a little bit. We'll see how that all plays out again. Let's go here. And again, the points that you see are by last season. I don't really like to look at projected points because sometimes I don't think that gives you the full picture of what you're looking at. I think you want to look at previous stats and numbers, from last year and fantasy points. A.J. Brown, as you know, was hurt a lot last year. I think he played for a lesser quarterback than Jalen Hurts with Tannehill. I think Jalen Hurts has a pretty good rapport with A.J. Brown. They've been friends for a while, is what I'm hearing as well. I think he's a good value pick here at 40 for Poocher, if that's the way he wants to go. As you can see, Herbert went, Lamar Jackson went. See, now Kittle goes. So it makes you think about, the value at tight end here at pick 45. So for me, I'm looking at Waller and then it drops off. And I know this is pick 45 and it could be early, but the value could be there for Waller at this point because of the way these guys are drafting tight ends. So I have to pay attention to this as we get closer. If Waller goes before I pick, then I'll just wait on tight end and go more value wide receiver and running back at this point. So as you can see, there's a tremendous value here in round 4 at wide receiver. I know Deontay Johnson got hurt today, shoulder injury. I don't think it's that bad according to what Mike Tomlin said and what I read, but you want to make sure that that's the case. I might just slide on him because I'm just not 100% sure. Plus, I drafting Pittsburgh already, and I don't think I would want Harris and him together. I don't look at their offense as that explosive that you can have both of those guys. They're not similar to a lot of teams out there. So that's it. Let's see what else is going on here. So yeah, so we're just waiting on Bulldogs. Zeke Elliott just went. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Zeke anymore at this point in his career. He really fell off a lot, in my opinion, over the last. It's been a while, like a lot of years. So the last 3 years, I think he's fallen. I think last year he was really bad, and you continue to see him like fall off and fall off and fall off. So I don't know if I would have taken him at that point in round 4. Brees Hall, very interesting pick there. And I'll tell you, I read some articles that he's just not really grasping the offense right now. So I'm not sure if I would take him at this point. But again, guys are probably starting to look at that second running back and knowing they need guys to fill in. And that helps me because I'm really interested more in A.J. Brown and McLaurin. And now I can come back here. I can get McLaurin here. As you can see, he's ranked 32nd ESPN. This is pick 45. I think there's a lot of value there. I like Carson Wentz there. I think he's a better quarterback than what they had. He's not great, but I think it's a really nice value pick there at that point, especially for a second receiver. His bye week is week 14. I think Wentz will get that offense going a little bit better than Heineke did last year. So happy to grab him there. I know I was talking about potentially getting Waller here, but I just think there was a lot of value there at getting McLaurin. Now I'll focus on Waller coming back. I'm not sure if he's available at all, but we'll wait and see. So yeah, let's take a quick peek at maybe the people looking at running backs, for your own leagues. So J.K. Dobbins, you worry about him a little bit because he's coming off an injury, still questionable. You're not too much sure. Same with Etienne Jr. Josh Jacobs is always hurt. Elijah Mitchell, for some reason those San Francisco running backs figure out a way to be hurt every year. Edwards-Helaire has underperformed a little bit for the Chiefs. I thought he'd be a lot better when he came out of LSU, but we haven't seen that from him. Devin Singletary, another guy that's just been underperforming a little bit as well. So we'll wait and see how that all plays out. But right now, Cortland Sutton went there. I think that's pretty good value for 9-1-1. I think he's picked a few running backs and everything, so probably something he wants to do there. Let's see where we are right now. So Brandon Cooks, ranking of 37th. We're on pick 49. I know people maybe aren't too sold on Houston, but I thought he looked pretty good last year. He put up some pretty good numbers. I think, they got some stability there, maybe a little bit on offense. I know it's young. So, he could be a good value pick here. He'll definitely go to probably P. Funk, who's on auto. He's probably going to take either Cooks or Dobbins, depending what 911 does here. For me here, St. Brown's got a lot of value here, but I think it takes a long time to come back for Darren Waller at this point, who I think sitting here at 63 is just a good option here. And I think that's where we're going to go right now. So we're going to take Waller here. I think this is a good play for us here. And where we saw tight ends went, they went a little early. So I think you got to also look at your draft as you're going through every round and seeing, where the value is, where guys are starting to get plucked from. Tight end has a fall off after that Kittle, Waller, Pitts area. We know Kelsey's 1 and Andrews. You got 5 good tight ends, and then you get a drop off. And at that point, when you have that drop off, I think you got to sit back and start looking at your receivers, your running backs, and go that way. And again, for me, these are my first 5 picks now. So I got a flex position still here that I can go anywhere in round 6, and I got my quarterback potentially for round 7. So I think we're looking somewhere probably in these guys are on the board here: Hurts, Prescott, Brady, Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow. I think that's going to be one of my starting quarterbacks. I think Aaron Rodgers has fallen pretty hard. I think people aren't projecting him to have the year that he could have, 37 touchdowns that he had last year, over 4,000 passing yards. I think people are expecting that, not to be as big because of Devontae Adams no longer there. But let's look at the team that picked Lazard early. This I think Barbie team, who picked him early. He might have interest in Aaron Rodgers as time goes on, because he feels if you feel Lazard has value and this guy has value, the quarterback has to have value as well. So we see a little running back run here. Dobbins, Josh Jacob, Elijah Mitchell, they've all gone here in, I'm guessing we're in round 5 here. So somewhere in the middle, in the 50s, to be exact. I'm just keeping my count here real quick. So it looks like it's 53, 54, and 55. So all good value there. I think you got a lot of good value here coming around. I'm picking down the board here, way down here. I think it's pick like 68 or 9 that I have in this 6th round. So the Gabriel Davis, Amon St. Brown, this whole group here, I don't expect to get a lot of good value here in those picks, but I don't really expect to get them at this point. But we'll see how it plays out. Let's just look by position again, especially running back. So, as you can see, it's a pretty big fall off now after the first 4 or 5 rounds in running back. So it had a big drop. So this Middletown Barbie must be a Packers fan, because he just took Amari Rodgers here in round 5, which he probably could have waited to round 20, because a lot of guys don't even know who he is. I think he's just a Packers fan. Maybe he's never played fantasy before. I think he's making a lot of reaches here early. But at the same time, guys can shock you. All of a sudden become superstars. I think there was somebody that drafted Cooper Kupp last year in one of my leagues in the 2nd round that people couldn't believe they reached for Cooper Kupp at that point. And we know the year that he had. There's an early defensive play. I know, as you can see, the name of the team is Vince's 49ers. He probably wants the 49ers defense so he can cheer for his team every week. Some people, are still homers even when it comes to fantasy. It could also be that the Saints D went right before him. So I think that's very early for defenses. I think, you only need 12. You don't have to go crazy. There's probably a lot of good matchups that you can look at, and you could definitely wait until the 16th, 17th round. This is a 17-round draft, so I'll wait till a lot later. There's the value again, Judy and Chris Godwin here late in the 5th round, as we now enter the 6th round. So let's see who's up here when it comes to the value. So Marquise Brown with Arizona, I think that's a tremendous value pick, especially at pick 61. Amon St. Brown, I think that's a tremendous value pick. Darryl Mooney, who, again, maybe not great, but Gabe Davis. I think you got 4 wide receivers here that are sitting here on the board with tremendous value. It's going to be hard for me to overlook them here at pick 69. So we'll just wait and see as it plays out. I don't expect any of the 4 to get to me. I would think these guys will just start sweeping them up just because of their value and where you're picking at this point, unless you've made a big wide receiver run early. And if you have, then maybe you're looking at running backs and other positions. As you can see, Devin Singletary. So he might be needing another running back, especially in the 6th round and where you start picking, because it takes a while, for the draft to get back to you at certain points. So that might be the area that he wanted to make that move. But Yeah, so far I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen some crazy picks by Barbie. I think he's probably a Packers fan just based off his picks. And I think that's why he went with Lazard and how he's doing things. And Poocher just took Aaron Rodgers, probably thinking that he was going to take him in front of him. And there you go, Bills defense, and then Marquise Brown. So this plays out nice for me. I can look at Gabe Davis here. I can look at St. Brown right here. I think I'll get either one of them right here. Nice value for me. Fits in nice with my bye weeks because they're on 6 and 7. I don't have anybody in there. So they fit nice in the flex spot. Also as a third wide receiver. So that all works out for me. So real happy about that. So we'll wait and see here what Extreme does. He went with his quarterback. So I think I'm going to take Amon St. Brown here. He really had a big year. Goff got more comfortable as the season went along with him. And I think this is a real good value pick for me here. A guy that's ranked 50th in the league, pick 69. I think that's a tremendous value there for me. I'm going to just slot him in on my flex roster here because that's real nice for him. Like I said, good bye week for me. So it really works out well as a whole of where I am. So real excited about that. Let me get my team here. So as you can see, let's look at the on the left side of the screen. Let's look at Middletown Barbie, and he took Lazard. Samuel was a good pick. I'm guessing he took. Let's see. Yeah, he took the other Rodgers. Maybe he thought that was Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback, and made a mistake. That's a possibility as well. Now thinking about it, that is definitely a possibility. So I don't want to give him too hard of a time, but yeah, it's kind of a reach there. But now looking at his roster, maybe it wasn't too. Maybe it was just a mistake on his part. It happens. I've seen that happen with other guys that have similar names over the years. So, the other thing is you can see quarterbacks. Let's see. He's taken a quarterback, and P-Funk has not. Barone is not. So I might have to take a quarterback here because there's a bunch of teams that haven't. Let's see who's out there. Jalen Hurts is still here. I think could be good value for me here because it's going to take a while, like I said, for it to get back around to me. I'll be somewhere in the 90s. Now, do I think I could get the same out of Russell Wilson as I get out of Jalen Hurts? Possible, because Gabe Davis is there, and there's some really good value, I think, with Gabe Davis, especially, let's see. Yeah, I mean, Gabe Davis is possibly Clyde Edwards-Helaire here. And again, these are backups for me. They're not guys that would start. Good value, and then maybe think about coming back later here, as we can see. Brady, Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford, Trey Lance even. Like I said, Kirk Cousins, 152. Trevor Lawrence, who could, have a bounce back sophomore season with a more mature offense. But now we see there goes Davis and Hurts. Very interesting. So now, two guys I was just talking about. I think Edwards-Helaire now at this point might be where I go. Miles Sanders, I'm a little concerned with his injury history. I would skip over him, I think, at this point. Maybe Amari Cooper as a fourth receiver if Edwards-Helaire disappears. Let's see who else is available at wide receiver. Adam Thielen by week 7. Like I said, if you like Cousins, you like Thielen, you like that whole thing. Renfro, but I do have Waller, so you get a little concerned with teaming up guys like that. So let's just see what happens. I don't think Barone is looking to pull on Edwards-Helaire because he would have. Nope, he went Russell Wilson. So he went his quarterback. I'm going to stay away from it because I think I come back and get my quarterback next round. I'm going to take Edwards-Helaire here. who I think is good value. And like I said, let me just see here. Like, for me, my team, you can see he's now fallen. Scroll this down. He's week 8, good bye week for Harris and Connor, 9 and 13. You got a couple of guys in week 6 there. I'll have to check, who my backup tight end ends up being. Want to make sure he's not week 6, right? Your backup quarterback's not the same week. This league, as you can see, there's limits in this league where you only can take 2 quarterbacks. So you definitely want to make sure you don't get 2 guys in the same week, because then you're going to have to cut one or make a trade and everything. So you can see a little quarterback run here. Probably a good spot for some guys, round 7. For me, I wanted to get a little extra there at running back. And now I can focus maybe on Trey Lance. I think Kirk Cousins might be somewhere where I go. Matt Stafford, why not? 41 touchdowns, 4,886 yards last year, ranked 111th. It's big numbers for a guy right there. He throws a lot of interceptions, but again, there's a good value. Middletown Barbie with a good pick there. I think there he had good value. Let's see. He was the guy. I think he made a mistake. I think he thought this was Aaron Rodgers. I think he made a mistake. I really do. I don't think he would have taken the other Rodgers that early. I think he realized it after. So, all right. So let's see. Christian Kirk is now gone. Let's look at the all again here. Some value. Michael Thomas, who, at one time was the top receiver, has been out of the league for a few years. There's a lot of value there at pick. He's ranked 72. We're already in the pick 80s. A lot of value, because the quarterbacks went on a little run here who are ranked lower, because of how the quarterback situation works in fantasy. One quarterback starting leagues, and you can see the depth there where you can get guys that are throwing some big yards. Let's just look at that real quick from last year, who's still available. We throw Lance out, but Derek Carr threw 4,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. Like I said, Kirk Cousins, 4,000 plus yards and 33 touchdowns. So, it's a guy that put up 367 fantasy points that is sitting, way down the list here. And I think that's the thing that people don't really pay attention to, is the amount of fantasy points quarterbacks put up and how many of them are out there putting up those points. And I think that's what you have to take into consideration as you evaluate players and what you see. So let's look at that, right? So you see where Cousins is with 367 fantasy. And then you got Miles Sanders, Damian Harris. Look at these points. Look at the big drop off in points here, right? So you end up taking these guys much later than Cousins. So that's why you don't want to put that value on a quarterback so early. You want to get some of these guys that are in the 300 plus range at running back. You can look at it wide receiver here real quick. Get that up here. Wide receiver real quickly here. Yeah, again, so Renfro was 252, Lockett 237. So you could see the big drop in their rankings. And it's like a quarterback, who is thrown again 367 points. Here's Carr with 310. Even Lawrence 229, which is right around the same number as those running backs and receivers you're drafting. And I think that's where you have to focus early on that running back and receiver area, because that's where the points are coming, right? And especially when you can start 2 or 3 of them, you want to make sure you're generating, that average points, right? So if you divide that by 17, 20 points a game roughly for Cousins, a little more, right? So you want to find guys at that running back receiver that are 18 to 20 points, right? Someone that's could give you, 300 plus points, for the season, and times that by 3, even times it by 5. So you're putting up, 90 points from your running backs, receivers, and flex position. And then your quarterback, he throws 20 points up there for you, which, here's Kirk Cousins, who I'm going to pick at 93 if he's there, and get a lot of value here for me after I picked all these other guys in Harris and Connor and Allen, McLaurin and Waller and St. Brown, will put up, big points that reflective of some of those other quarterbacks that went early. And you can see the difference as time goes on. So that's the importance. Now, again, you value certain guys later in the draft that maybe you think are going to be breakout stars and guys of that magnitude, but you got to look at it from a whole and seeing, what your focus is on. Like, I think Michael Thomas is a guy that potentially could be a 300 plus, point wide receiver, and he's got good value here at 72. Maybe Tyler Lockett, now that, Geno Smith, we know, is the starting quarterback. He's, 1-1A kind of receiver, probably more the 2 now. Metcalf is that good, but, he's still a top flight receiver that can maybe give you, again, the same amount of points there, right? 237, not bad at all. We know Russell Wilson was hurt last year, so he still put up some points. Now another year with Geno. Geno's been under Pete Carroll in that system for a while, so you might have some good feelings here. Renfro, I know you take a step back from him because Devontae Adams is there now, so you got to think about things a little differently with him. Devonta Smith, his second year, he's a number 2 receiver. Maybe he'll get some more balls focused his way, and so those are like the kind of areas too. There's value there as well. But I think for me here, I think it makes a lot of sense to go with Kirk Cousins. Like I said, you can see the yards and the touchdowns and the total fantasy points, which I think are all things that are important for me at this point. Did that draft work? Looks like a little frozen on my end. Yep. Okay. So sometimes you freeze up as time goes on here. But yeah, so good value there, I think, for me. Now I want to focus on, you can say I got 3 running backs, 3 receivers, a quarterback, 10. So I'm just going to look at the best available guy here. And let's look at that. I think for me, probably Tyler Lockett is where I'm thinking. Drake London, I'm not sure about with Marcus Mariota and that Atlanta team. I think they'll throw the ball a lot because they'll be behind, so he could be the guy. I think Kyle Pitts is more of the number 1 receiver there, and I think he'll get a lot of the focus. There's only so many guys that on bad teams that you want to draft as fantasy players, and you want to make sure that you focus really on who you think the number 1 guy is coming out of that, right? So that could be somebody you focus on. And I'll tell you who's another guy. Let me just see where he is on here. He should be here. Right here, Corduroy Patterson. He's probably the number 1 guy. You could see he put up 222 fantasy points last year, and he probably would have put up more because they started using him more in that Deebo Samuel role as the season went on and didn't do it early on. So his fantasy points are probably a little lower total. His averages probably after certain games go up. So maybe pick 96 here. He would be my last running back I could take because I took, as you can see, there's only position limits here in the left corner. So there's only 4. I already took 3. I took Najee Harris, James Conner, as we know. And the last guy I just took was Edwards-Helaire. Again, I look at the week here. It's 14. I don't think Patterson will be there when I come back at this point. So, that's probably where I'm going to go at this point. Like I said, I'm thinking it through as I'm talking. I like Lockett, but at the same time, I think maybe Patterson is a little more value at this point. So I think that's where my focus will be right here. I think he's better than, I get concerned about the two New England backs. Bill Belichick has that compensity of using multiple backs, and he doesn't sometimes focus on a single back to get a lot of carries. Uses three-headed monster, so you're not sure maybe sometimes who's going to be the lead back. Antonio Gibson, there's been concerns that Brian Robinson, who they brought in, might be the one back, might split some carries. So even if Patterson doesn't become the number one back, if people remember, he is a receiver. He can flex out of that spot as well. So I think I'm going to go him for now. I think there's good value there. All right. So as you can see, my running backs are done, so they disappear off the screen. So I can't really pay attention to that to see how people are going to think about that moving forward. Well, but you can see Team Extreme went with Gibson. He had him probably focused on. King Arthur went with Carr, probably making that move after I took Cousins. So that was maybe his thought process there. So, we're in round 9. We're going to round 10. Like I said, kickers and defense. I'm big into round 16 and 17 with them. I think that's where I could probably go at this point. You can see DeAndre Hopkins has popped up on my screen here. I think he's good value here to stash away, maybe with the 4th receiver. So we'll see if he's still there as it comes around to myself. It'll be interesting to see when guys start pulling more tight ends, more defenses. If somebody gets kicker happy early, there's always that one guy that gets a little Justin Tucker happy. So you might see that. There's Lockett going. Again, Middletown Barbie, who I thought maybe was just a homer and making some mistakes. I think, again, seeing who he's picking now, I think he's definitely focused on better guys here, and I think he's put himself in a better position. I think he just got caught up in just picking the wrong guy. Green Bay, a Rodgers guy, and just thought he had him and probably pulled the wrong trigger. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. Let's look at my good friend here and our commissioner, Vince 49ers. So he went Lamar. He didn't go real running back. He went heavy receiver, Chase and Diggs. He didn't go running back for a while. That's why he ended up with some probably lesser guys there. And Singletary and Pierce. We'll see how Pierce plays out in Houston. Let's see what else here. If I can get this to scroll down. Always a problem with these. I don't know. Okay, there we go. No one on his bench. He went 49ers D early. He went Pitts. So he went strength here. Here's his strength. Lamar, of course. He just went with Hopkins, so he's going to stash him away, which I said probably at this point is a good time to stash away Hopkins, which he did. I would think he would want to go with another running back there, maybe. But maybe the value is gone or he's focused on something else. Like I said, I can't see them at this point. So I don't know who's there for him to take. That's just the way the system is set once you reach your limits. So that's just the way it's set. So let's look at my team again here. Let's see where we are. All right. Getting a little slow down here, maybe. I don't know. Sometimes, everyone's logging on maybe at this time and starting to draft. It could be, So again, Waller, week 6. Let's look at the tight ends here real quick. I'm thinking backup tight end maybe at this point. Let's see who's out there. So, not a lot of tremendous guys here. Let's see. I tell you who I like. I like this guy from Denver, Albert Okwu. I can't pronounce his last name, but you can see who he is on the screen here. I'll call him Albert O. I think there's some value there, possibly. I think Hunter Henry here, maybe for me. It's a backup tight end. What I might do is just skip this, let this slide out to the next round. And again, maybe focus on a fourth wide receiver because, again, you can use 3 a week. Again, 2 in the flex. Maybe come back with a fourth here. Let's see. I think Valdez-Scantling maybe on Kansas City. Again, good team, big offense. You know, you don't know which way they're going to roll with guys there. Claypool, I know, is suffering a shoulder injury. And again, I have Harris. I go too much Pittsburgh, I think. And again, this is a fourth receiver for me. Could also be someone that doesn't play ever. Maybe Olave here, who's a guy that people were really, really high on coming out of college. I think he's the Ohio State kid. So maybe somebody that with Jameis Winston, Michael Thomas, maybe somebody you focus on there. Again, he slides down a little bit in the whole draft perspective and the way things are going. So I'm not 100% sold there at that point. But Russell Gage here, we know that Godwin might be coming back. So I'm on the clock now. Let's just take a quick peek, look at the all position. And that's really for me where the value is here. I'm going to try this kid. Just it's my fourth receiver. He's got some value there. Like I said, I can't see the running backs. I don't really want to go defense at this point. It's my 10th pick, and I think maybe he's somebody that can turn into a number one. Again, you get some concerns maybe with Michael Thomas and his injuries and being out so long. Maybe he's not the same player he was. We'll have to wait and see, but we'll see how it plays out. So again, I got a bunch of week 14 guys here. So, but you can see I'm okay with St. Brown as the flex and Keenan Allen. And week 14 is very far down as well. We know injuries are going to occur and all that. So as long as you don't really stack too much on the same weeks, like my 2 starters aren't week 14, anything like that, you can get away with it. But again, it's something to pay attention to as things go on. I think that's extremely important here. So, all right, so now we're getting to round 11. Again, we know the last 2 picks, 16 starting kicker and defense. I think we got to focus probably maybe on our backup quarterback here as well. So Cousins is week 7. Trevor Lawrence here, week 11. Again, you don't have to go crazy here because, what do we want him to play a week, right? And, I think Lawrence is a guy that has tremendous talent. We saw it coming out of school. He ran into Urban Meyer, which was a real mess in Jacksonville his first year. I really like what Doug Peterson brings to the table as a former NFL quarterback himself. Always remember, Super Bowl winning coach. That's extremely important when you look at it as well. A quarterback friendly offense. We know how well Nick Foles did under him. Carson Wentz before he suffered injuries, and I think the mental aspect of things that took him away from things, I think that's big as well. But I like Lawrence. I think a lot of talent coming out of Clemson. Was number 1 overall pick. We know the bad years that John Elway and Troy Aikman had on bad teams in their first seasons, and even Peyton Manning struggled a little bit on his first year. Things have changed over time, but at the same time, I just think he ran into some real issues with Urban Meyer and just the way they're doing things. And now they've added some stability there, I think, with Doug Peterson, a lot of young, good players. They added, Christian Kirk there to help them. And it's a lot of value, I think, overall. And like I said, I'm only looking for him for a week. He's not my starter at this point. I don't think it's a tremendous reach here, and we'll see how it plays out. I think Rashad Penny there, pick round 10, pick 12 was a real nice value pick there. Going to probably be the starting running back for Seattle. And again, they're not a great team when you look at it on paper. We know they have a lot of injury issues and all that as time goes on. So those are other things to look at. Team P Funk there goes with James Robinson. I think he's on auto draft, so that could be why the pick was so quick. So I think that you have to take into account as well. There's Claypool. We talked about, he's right around where his pick was, his value. Trubisky, who's going to be his number one guy? Is, Deontay Johnson hurt now after today? Again, we know what was said by Tomlin and everything. I know Claypool himself is dealing with an injury, so it's all that. There's Colts D. Again, I'm going to wait on D. I'm going to go Lawrence here, just so I have my backup quarterback. Now that goes away, as you can see. Again, reach limits, and then you move in that direction here. So we are now at the 12th round. And let's just look at my team here real quick. And again, you can see we need a defense and a kicker. And if we can ever get this to scroll, that'd be nice. Okay. So there's really 4 spots left. One will be the backup tight end. And then it really leaves 3 spots for receivers. Maybe 2 receivers, maybe 2 tight ends. That's probably which way I'll go. I'll probably end up taking 2 receivers and 2 tight ends because it limits 1 kicker, 1 D. I don't like backup kickers in Ds. I think that's a waste of time. They're usually first of all, defenses don't get hurt, so you never really have to substitute them except for a bye week, and you can just go find a defense on the waiver wire for that week and just throw anybody in there. Sometimes you even get lucky, find a defense that wasn't even drafted as the season goes along, and just pick them up and they become your defense. And then kicker, you can figure it out when it comes to their bye week as well. So let's focus on receiver and tight end. Let's look at tight end because we don't have a backup yet. And again, week 6 is really where we want to be focused on here. So there goes Hunter Henry, who we were talking about potentially before Lawrence, but let it slide there. Let's see. I think Tyler Higbee is got value here for the Rams. We know they have a really nice offense there. I think he had some opportunities, got hurt down the stretch and everything, but some opportunities here. Not sold on Fant. Maybe Gesicki. We'll see. Again, not totally sold on Tua yet, but he has Waddle and Tyreek Hill. They brought in Chase Edmonds. They got Raheem Mostert. So the offense seems like it's got some key players in place. So maybe Gesicki is that kind of guy. Again, you look at the fantasy points. And tight end is another one. Not overly worried about matchups and all that because it's 1 week. Then he just went, as you can see here on the side. They seem to just come off. So we got a little wait here. It looks like pick 141. So we'll see how this plays out as we move along. I think Higbee is probably where I'm focused on with this pick. Had to get some water there. Feel like I'm non-talking here since the draft started about almost an hour ago. So you can see it moves at a pretty good pace. 11 rounds in about an hour. It starts slowing down now because guys, there's limited rosters. People are starting to look at where, what they want, who they're going to go with. It becomes a little bit harder for teams as they start going. But again, you got to focus on where you are. Again, roster limits in this league makes it a little tougher sometimes and where you want to focus. Especially once you got that 4th running back, you're done. Once you have that 2nd quarterback, you're done. And the thing is those roster limits stay throughout the season in this league, which makes it very interesting when somebody could be a top-tier quarterback that maybe player A got hurt, his backup is available, you're playing that team this week, and you're a little bit higher up on the waiver wire, and you want to just pick that guy up to block him because there maybe not somebody else better available, or there's someone else better available, but it restricts you from doing that. So it evens the playing field a little bit. It probably at the same time frustrates you, because you wanted to make that move there at that point, but you couldn't. So you end up having to deal with the outcome of the league rules. But it going in, you have to know what those rules are when you're coming in. That's why I said you need to pay attention to all that. And there you go, the little kicker run there on the side now, as we see Tucker and Boyd. I'm sorry, not Boyd. Tucker and McPherson. Evan McPherson, man, that guy, what a year last year. Ice in his veins. He made like every kick as a rookie. Tremendous kicker, big leg. Tucker, we know he's an all-time great Hall of Fame kicker at this point. I mean, it's really what it is. It's hard to argue what he is at this point. But again, I think that changes year to year, right? Like the scoring when it comes to kickers. You want to focus on a good scoring team and their kicker, and select it that way. And there's usually 10 to 12 good scoring teams, and I think you can get your kicker in the 17th round. That's going to be similar in points to a kicker that got picked in the 11th and 12th round. And I'd rather take my time and get another receiver, another tight end, at this point. So we're going to go Higbee, but let's just look at the receivers just in case. Because like I said, value. And again, Russell Gage still out here. Here's DJ Chark, maybe some good value for Detroit. Detroit could be a better, bigger scoring team. I'm guessing people are still concerned, of course, with Jared Goff and that. How about Jarvis Landry, another New Orleans guy? Possession, probably be a slot, like possession kind of receiver. So that's someone interesting there. Dotson for Washington has been coming on as time has gone on here. It's hard to, like I said, this mouse drives me crazy, but it's okay. Josh Palmer. Oh, I really slid. There's Romeo Doubs, who's a sleeper, deep sleeper in a lot of leagues and things like that. So, well, let's see how it plays out here. Let's go back to our tight end here as things are going along. And we'll get ready for Higbee. I didn't queue anyone up. You can do that as well. You have that ability to queue players up. So, before you join your drafts, you'll have your list of guys maybe that are sleepers for you. You have your queue all set up. So they're guys that you're paying attention to that you don't forget as time goes along. But, for me, I think you got to see how the draft plays out, who gets picked where, who's who, and all that. There's George Pickens, sleeper kind of receiver maybe that's coming out for Pittsburgh. They just got picked. Things are a little slow on my end here, but let's hopefully can draft Higbee here. My clock is slowed down. Yeah, we got him. All right. So as you see, a little choppy, a little slow. Again, sometimes the internet and being on StreamYard and all that comes along with it slows it down. But again, all right, so now we have that. And again, we know we can take one more tight end. We know we got two receivers. So I think I'm going to go back-to-back receivers these next two picks. So let's just see who we got out here. There goes Russell Gage. James Cook, very good value, I think. Round 12, pick 10 there. If you're looking for a running back a little later and you have that ability, I think that's somebody there that you can get. Let me take this Sky Moore. He's somebody that I think they're focusing on maybe a little bit in Kansas City for those long passes that Mahomes likes to throw. So I just got to pay attention, right? So Keenan Allen, but this is the fifth receiver. Again, I don't have multiple guys week 8 at the same position. So I could see that. I think that's important. I do have a couple of Chiefs, but again, big offense. Again, this is the fifth receiver. Might be someone that never plays for you. I think here you'll just look for guys that are sleepers. And I think this is a potential sleeper guy, right? Valdez-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, not the healthiest guys that haven't put up huge numbers in a while. Juju had some big years in Pittsburgh. Valdez-Scantling was hurt a lot and played. And there you go. Barone took him, so that slides that down. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Devontae Parker because I think he could be the number 1 receiver for Mac Jones in New England. And he's by week 10, as we could see. That doesn't impact me. Take some value here, and then we'll let it slow. So those are some guys there. Tyler Conklin there for the Jets. Team Extreme must be a Jets fan. Want to get his Jets guy. So you see that. Let's see here. I'm trying to slide this up. It's hard. Oh man. All right. It is what it is. But I know there's the kid from Dallas that a lot of guys are focusing on potentially as a second pick. Let me look his name up here real quick. It is, let's see here on my list. I'm going through things. Maybe you already got selected. I doubt it at this point. Guys will start selecting here. It's not Michael Gallup, of course. He's hurt. I don't see him on my list right now. Let's see here. All right, not a big deal. But that's, those are the kind of guys I think as you start getting later. Tolbert, that's him, Jalen Tolbert. So as you start getting later, right, in your draft, you want to start. There he is. He's right here. So, he's ranked 225. Would you rather go with Kenny Galladay? Would you rather go with him? What's your thought process as time goes on and seeing those guys? So you can see, I think Marvin Jones, Sammy Watkins again, Middletown Barbie, who's definitely a Packers fan. He's taken a bunch of different Packers here, receivers, or he's an Aaron Rodgers fan and thinks that Aaron Rodgers will get it to it. The thing is, when you take so many guys from so many teams, the same team, how are you going to start them? The only time I think about that is the old Rams, right? Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk and Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt. You would start all 4 every week. You wouldn't care, Maybe even the Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne Colts, right? Like those are the teams that you think about. I don't think the Packers with Sammy Watkins and Alan Lazard is that kind of team right now. Now maybe they prove us all wrong and do something crazy and become that team, but I don't see it. So now you got to remember, I'm roster limited here. So even though Tolbert is ranked 225, I think, and he's by week 9, and, you can see that doesn't really impact me. He'll be my last receiver taken. And then from there, I go with the backup tight end, and then the kicker and the defense, most likely defense kicker, and then we're done. And you already had your team planned out at this point. If you're really looking for guys for you to win at this point in the draft, the 14th round in a 9-team starting league, you're really grasping for straws. At this point, you should just be looking for guys to fill in blanks. If you want to take a kicker or a defense a little early, like I said, I don't recommend it. If you want to go 14th or 15th round, okay. And I think that's where you're starting to see guys go now. But I think, again, this is where you just look for guys that might have potential value, guys you're paying attention to at this point, and somebody that you might want to grab. Jalen Tolbert to me is someone that maybe could be the guy. Like I said, I got concerns about Dallas's offense. When I said early, I didn't really want CeeDee Lamb early in my draft because I feel he's going to get double teamed. I felt, Elliott has fallen off. I'm still not 100% sold sometimes on Dak. So there's all that plays out into it and everything. So you can see now my board is done with quarterback, running back, wide receiver. So that all is going to come off. I'm going to take the kid from Denver here, Oakweg. I got to learn to pronounce his name. If you tune into the Vin and Mike podcast, I will practice his name. I will promise you that on this week's episode. We'll be on Tuesday, the August 30th live, like we usually are. And we'll see maybe we'll talk about how I did in this draft and how everything went with that. Mike has joined our survivor pool. So we do have our survivor pool for anyone that's interested in that. You can reach out to us, give us the link. I know it's up on our Instagram page, which is Vin and Mike Podcast. So you can just go on our Instagram, check it out there. You can check it out. I'll post it on our Twitter, which is going to be Real Vin and Mike for everybody to take a look at. So you can see what I just did there. I took the tight end. I got to just get this to function properly. But yeah, we're having a good time doing the you can wait, something got unresponsive there. I'm freezing here for some reason. I don't know what's going on with the draft. But there we go. All right. So wow, really went crazy here. Okay, I'm guessing people are picking quick and fast and everything else that comes along with it. All right, so let's see here. Defenses are going. Looks like kickers are going. Looks like I dropped off and came back on here. By the way, looks like I kicked, booted, and then came back because it looks like I lost all the picks here on the activity side. Let's see if we can look at pick history here real quick. Yeah, but all right, we don't want to look at that. All right, let's go back to players. Let's see if we can pull up the defenses. The Chargers D is not bad here. Let's pull it up. Yeah, we got Chargers D. That's not bad. I'm not, Rams D. Very interesting. Rams defense. I'm surprised. They still have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. I get it. Maybe the NFC West is a little bit better, but it's a pretty good D. But I think the Chargers D got some value here. I know the AFC West is very tough. Dolphins, I'm not too sold on. Browns, maybe. You do play the Bengals twice. The Steelers, I'm not sure about. Ravens are good. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Chargers are probably the best, adding Khalil Mack and improving themselves. I think I could take the Chargers here. If not, I think I might even go Eagles because they play Washington. They play the Giants. Cowboys, like I said, I'm not sold on. They're a little bit better than I think people think they are on the defensive line of the ball. It could be the guy. Let's just see how it plays out here. So I'm going to go Chargers. If not, I'm going to go Eagles. I might go Eagles. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. Made my decision for me. So I'm going to go Eagles here. I think that's a really good pick here for me. All right. And as you can see, it's a little slow. All right. And now I got to pick a kicker. If we can get it to move a little bit, you can see I'm not allowed to take a D, so they all disappeared now. because I need the kicker to complete my team. ESPN runs a nice little system here. So, all right. Well, we got Hopkins here, who is the Chargers kicker, who I think the Chargers score. Young Ho Koo, who had a really nice season. Jake Elliott. Maybe I'll just go Philly. Why not? Right? Do a little Philly special here. Little Jake Elliott and Eagles D and be done with it. I always like Robbie Gould. He's a fantastic kicker for many years as well. I'm just not a little concerned about the 49ers offense. So the Eagles and Chargers, again, both really good offenses in terms of, I think, of being able to move the ball this year. I'm not sure. I think the Chargers are probably a little bit more touchdown than the Eagles at this point. So I think maybe Elliott will get some more opportunities than Dustin Hopkins. And I think he's probably a little bit better of a kicker than Hopkins. And there's Chris Boswell there, who, the Pittsburgh kickers always seem to do pretty good. Oh, there goes Jake Elliott. So I think we'll go with Hopkins. Unless he goes, then maybe I'll just go with my man Robbie Gould, because I just like Robbie Gould. I like to kid around in my house and go Robbie Gould, but that's for a whole different time and place and stories and all that. But let's see, Broncos. So we had Dolphins and Broncos. Do you go? You know what? We're just gonna go Dustin Hopkins here and be done with it. And there's my team. So you can see how it played out. So that was the fourth pick for me, and my thought process and everything throughout this draft, as you can see. Guys are picking their last guys now, and I'll just let it play out on the right side there for you guys so you can see who's going and who's not. But, interesting picks for some other guys as you see how they played it out early. Guys go a little wide receiver happy early on. Some guys go running back happy. You saw some quarterbacks go real early. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes. Not surprising. Those are the guys that you would expect to go early. Oh, something's happening here. I don't know why. All right. So with all of that, let's wait and see as it plays out here. We're getting close to the last pick, which will be auto picked, so it'll go quick, and then that'll be the end of it. Let me look at my draft real quick. I'll just run it down one last time with everybody. I look at it, got Najee Harris, Connor, Allen, McLaurin, Waller as my core guys. So, and there you go. There's my team. They show you everybody. Kind of interesting. That's pretty cool. Draft's complete. Let's clear that out. So let's see if we'll just stay here real quick. Just end this fast. So, for me, this is basically my starting team. I might, switch out St. Brown, see maybe Patterson or Edwards-Helaire. We'll look at matchups early. Allen and McLaurin are going to play most of the year. My number one pick. That's always important, right? I think teams that win fantasy championships, their number one pick has to be good, of course. That's really important. And then I think the second thing is they have to be healthy. And those are the things that, when you look back on draft wins and everything, that's usually what takes it for you. Guys that took McCaffrey over the last 2 years had probably the best fantasy player. He's probably still the best fantasy player, but can he stay healthy? At pick 2, it's where he's been going in most leagues. Jonathan Taylor, pick 1. But I think that's important. So for me, Harris to stay healthy, Keenan Allen to stay healthy, Waller to stay healthy, of course, Kirk Cousins to stay healthy. Hopefully, like I said, Eagles D, I like the matchups there. We'll see how that plays out. Some value here, I think, with Edwards-Helaire and Patterson, and I got St. Brown, who I thought had a really nice second half of the season last year. So, that whole thing all plays into it when you draft. And like I said, in a team, in a league where you're starting 9 people and 2 of them are a D and a kicker. These are your first 7 picks, from your quarterback, your 2 running backs, your 2 receiver, your tight end, and your flex, right? 2, 4, 6, 7, right? 2 or 6. Those guys have to be the guys that lead your team. You have to be very confident in those first 7 picks. And once you have that, you're good to go. And that's it. So this was fun. Maybe next time I'll have somebody else on so I could take a little breather and some more drink breaks. But it was only an hour and basically 15 minutes. And really appreciate everybody that's going to tune in and listen to us. If you have any questions about what you're thinking, if you have a draft coming up next weekend when it gets busy for draft day or during this week and everything, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can always reach out on here on the YouTube. You can put something in the comments, or you can go to our Twitter at Real Vin and Mike and post some questions there, or Instagram, which is Vin and Mike Podcast. You could go to our page, vinandmikepodcast.com. This will all be out there. So I just want to thank everybody who is tuning in, and have a good night.